One of the things that I joke around about with my husband and my very closest friends is how judgmental of a person I am, and we make jokes about this all the time. But at the same time, I've also been told by people, and I've come to believe this to be true, that I have a unique ability to create space for people to feel very vulnerable and discuss things that they wouldn't normally discuss with other people. So, which of this is the truth? Am I a horribly mean, judgmental person, or am I someone who is extremely empathetic and creates space for people? I'm a little bit of both, and I'll explain what I mean by this. I'm not judgmental of people, but I am very judgmental of behavior. And to be frank, that's my job. I'm hired to analyze, critique, and help improve behavior of high-powered individuals. So it's not weird that that's something that I tend to notice in other areas of my life, personal and professional. I think that a lot of this comes from my background as someone in long-term recovery from drug addiction. When we look at people who are in recovery or when we're first getting sober ourselves, there's a lot of empathy that goes into why is this person continuing to repeat a behavior that is clearly maladaptive and destructive and killing them and hurting their families and the people that care about them. You have to love the person, most of us do at least. And yet at the same time, there's a lot of frustration and beating our heads against the walls and pleading and begging for something different to happen. There's a lot of judgment around the behavior. And honestly, with good regard, it makes sense that we would judge that behavior. It's not adaptive. So I carry this type of mentality into my work as well with help, again, with helping high-powered individuals succeed at higher levels and figure out what's holding them back. So one of the things that comes up a lot too is that once they're starting to kind of click into place, and we're never perfect and we're never a finished product, but once they're more self-reflective and are able to see what's holding themselves back, they start to wonder, well, what's holding the people around me back as well, my team, the sales agents that I've hired, etc. So the thing that I've started to look at are what are some of the simple questions that we can ask to help move people from maladaptive behavior into more positive growth and change creating behavior. And there's a few different questions that we can ask. If you notice that someone is stuck in a certain behavioral pattern, these are some of the things that you might ask to help move them forward. First and foremost, what is the payoff to doing what they're doing? There's something that they are getting out of the quote bad behavior that they're engaging in. Something. They're scratching a dopamine itch. They're able to leave work earlier because they're not focused on the details so much. There's something that's helping them in this maladaptive behavior. So what is the payoff? The second question is, what is the belief behind the behavior? We talk a lot in my recovery circles about having old ideas and getting rid of old ideas that no longer serve us. Same thing is true in business and in all aspects of our lives. What is the belief that used to serve me, that used to help me, that I'm holding on to that no longer does anything for me? How can I change that belief? The third question is what's missing for them to behave differently? Perhaps it's a belief, like we talked about. Perhaps it's an awareness about the payoff that they're receiving and the sacrifices that they're making continuing to behave that way. But perhaps it's a model, a mentor. Perhaps it's a coach. Perhaps it's a tool. We got to ask ourselves too, do they have all the things that they need equipped to be able to behave differently? And lastly, fourth question is what small step could help move them towards the behavior that they want to have? What small thing can they do that can help move them closer to their stated goal? Do not underestimate the power of a small win. It makes a massive difference in rearranging that belief system that we were talking about earlier. So, you can judge me if you want as being a judgmental person of behavior, but do know that I am an extremely empathetic person, as I think most of us are. And instead, I choose to focus on the behavior as the focus of my judgment. What can we do to help people to have the behaviors that they choose that are going to move them forward in their lives? That's what I'm hired to do. And I think as leaders in any industry, it's actually what you're hired to do as well.